Hi guys, welcome back to a new year on the channel. If you are new here, my name is Rolson and I'm an online entrepreneur. I have a six-figure online business that I run, which consists of 2 different websites. If you want to know what those are, you can go and look at my previous videos. And then I invest my money, and my whole idea and plan for life and what I'm talking about on this channel is that I want to have financial freedom in my life, and I want to create this life where I can live out on a farm and be creative and work on whatever creative projects I want to work on every day. So if you want to follow my journey and learn what I am doing to accomplish that and watch me accomplish that, then you can subscribe to the channel and like the video. But in this video, I just want to basically talk a little bit about what I have decided to do this year. So one thing that I want to do different that we can start off with, because that's also important to you guys, is that I'm going to focus. And what that means is I'm going to shut down some of the projects that I've started last year. So the crypto channel, for example, I'm still going to do videos on cryptocurrency and my investments on them, but they're going to be on this channel, the main channel. And it's because it's just too much for me to run 3 different YouTube channels and also run my businesses and also do investing and research for my investing and also take care of my family and my daughter and my household, and also work on other projects that I've got going on. So it's too much and I need to focus down. That's one of my lessons from last year. So I'm closing down the crypto channel. I'm closing down the podcast channel as well, which I'm really sad about because I really like doing the podcast a lot. But it's a lot of work to cut the podcast episodes into these small videos and make thumbnails for every single video. It's like 20 videos has to be made and 20 thumbnails for those videos and 20 titles and 20 texts and all of that stuff. I'll need to shut that down as well. I can't do it all at once. Maybe I'll do some conversations with some people on this channel. I don't know yet, but that might be a possibility. But I'm just going to focus it all down to this one channel. My goal for this channel is to have 1 video a week. That's my goal. I would like to do more than that, but I'm not going to stress myself further than 1 video a week because I need to focus on the other parts of my journey here, which is working on my businesses to generate more cash, and then investing that cash as best I can, because that is eventually what is going to get me to my goal, to the farm and everything else. Another thing that I just wanted to show you guys is the books that I'm going to read. Maybe we can also talk a little bit about what I have been reading last year, if you guys are interested in that. 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. And I didn't get really that far into that because it's extremely heavy. It's like Jordan Peterson is heavy and I like him for that, and I want to read his book at one point. But I just decided it's too much for me to do. Like, I cannot listen to this audiobook while I'm driving my car, for example. It's too complex. I need to sit down and really focus on this and be able to write down notes and go back and like listen to stuff again. And I experience that sometimes. And my advice to anyone who is a bit like me and likes to research and read books or listen to audiobooks is that if you feel yourself like drifting away a lot and not really listening to the book, then stop listening to it, because you're going to waste your time. What you want is to be really into what you're listening to so that you really get it in. And if you feel like this is so complex that I need to not do anything else, I need to just sit down and listen to the book and maybe write down stuff, and maybe sometimes I need to listen to a sentence 3 times before I really understand it. Or maybe I need to Google a word that is said that I don't understand. So I need to pause the audiobook and Google the word and read the definition and then go back and listen to the sentence again and see if I understand it. Don't waste your time when you're listening to audiobooks. I've done it a lot. I've listened to several hours of audiobooks that I just haven't gotten anything out of because I really didn't pay attention. And I kind of just had this arbitrary goal of I want to read like 50 books in a year. I had a goal of at one point, and a lot of those books helped me a lot. But at the end of the year, it just became this race with time where I just tried to consume as many books as possible just to reach that number of 50 books. And that's completely stupid because if you're not really listening to the books, it doesn't really make any sense. So that's why I haven't heard Jordan Peterson's book yet, because I really want to hear it. I don't want to just be distracted, and it's just insanely complicated, his book. And then I started getting into books. Then I actually started getting into books about psychedelics. And I didn't really get to read any of these books before I was blown away by crypto. Because I started looking into investing. What should I invest my money in? I discovered crypto, and I just dropped everything that I had in my hands and went into that rabbit hole. This was about September last year. I went so deep. I'm still deep in that rabbit hole. And that is some of the books that I'm going to read this year as well and have read. So I started listening to this one, Non-Technical Look at the King of Crypto Assets. I didn't really feel like, because I was researching while I was listening to this. And at some point I felt like my research had caught up with this book. So I felt like this is not giving me value anymore. I know all of the stuff that this book is covering because this is a very basic, like, surface look at Bitcoin and the history of Bitcoin. And so I just stopped listening to it. That's another thing that I do to not waste time, is if I feel like I'm paying attention, I'm listening, I'm getting what is being said in the audiobook, but it's just not valuable to me because I know it, or I'm not going to use it, or it's not the angle on the subject that I really wanted, or I don't like the way that it's written, or anything that just makes me kind of feel like, again, this is a waste of time, I just stop. I have no feelings about I want to finish this book. If it's not giving me value, then the time is wasted and I will move on to something else. So that's why you will see a lot of like half-finished books in here. The same thing with Thank God for Bitcoin. I started listening to it and I just felt like this is one that I really want to get back to, because this is a very interesting look at Bitcoin through the lens of like morals and values, and how Bitcoin somehow is morally or ethically superior to the money that we have today. And I think it's very interesting, but I want to understand like the fundamentals of Bitcoin a little bit better, and also of the current money system, before I go back into this one. So this was why I stopped listening to this one. Then I started listening to Economics for Real People, an introduction to the Austrian school, and I'm about halfway through that. And this was very interesting. I can really recommend this book to anyone who is interested in economics in general. Because what this is another school of economics. So I went to business school, and I had economics and macroeconomics. And what you learn in traditional business school, which is another school of economics, the Keynesian economics, I think is called, that is what is generally taught in schools today. And this is another school of economics, the Austrian school of economics. And a lot of the reasons why Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general is interesting relies on this Austrian school of economics, which when you read it, I thought made a lot more fucking sense than the Keynes theory of economics that I was taught in school. There was a lot of times when I was in school and was taught about something like inflation and the banking system, where I feel like this just does not make sense. It works on paper, I can see that. For example, the money creation in society, not to go deeply into this, but it's just an example. So money is created in society when a bank lends out money. And the way that works is that if you have some money, you go to the bank and you deposit your money into the bank and say, hold this for me, thank you. And historically, you got a return on that money from the bank. You got maybe like 2% or 4% interest on the money that you had in the bank. And this was because the bank was lending out your money to other people. And when the bank does this, something very interesting happens, because they have your money. Okay, maybe I should go to the whiteboard now. So, your money, let's say this is the bank. The bank has, how do I draw this? Your money. Oh my God. This looks so horrible. Okay, I hope you can see what it says here. Your money. The bank has your money, and now it creates a loan. So let's say that you put in $100. Can I make a dollar sign? Oh, God damn it. It's hard to draw with the mouse. Okay, so you put in $100 to the bank. Now the bank creates a loan. So there's another guy who wants to borrow $100 from the bank. So the bank creates a loan. Jesus Christ, this is bad. Of $100. So now what the bank does is that it says, hey, now I have $200 because I have the $100 over here. That is your money that you put into the bank. And now I also have a loan of $100. So I have $100 of your money. And I also have this other guy who owes me $100. So I just made $100 out of thin air. This is what you learn through the Keynes theory of economics, that this is how money is created in society. And I remember sitting in class being taught this and just thinking, this does not make any fucking sense whatsoever. This only works on paper. This does not work in the real world. You don't have $200. You only have the 100. And banks keep doing this. And this is one of the things that is wrong with the banking system today and is creating inflation and all of these other things that I'm going to discuss in later videos. Because another interesting, I'm going to stop this example in a second, but it's just to show you how insane this is. So then the bank does this extra creation of money where this guy that has borrowed the $100, he now deposits the $100 into the bank as well. And so now the bank has another $100 over here, which is a new I'm just going to call it DP because I don't want to write deposit here. Okay, so now the bank has $300 because it has your $100, it has a loan of $100, and it has a new deposit of $100 that it can then lend out to someone else, and the scheme just continues. So this is part of the Keynes theory of economics, and that doesn't work in the world of Austrian economics because, in my view at least, the Austrian economics actually makes sense, which is one of the reasons why Austrian economics says that something like a fiat currency can never be a real object to be used as money, because it will only incentivize the issuers of that currency to issue currency until the currency is worth nothing, which is basically what has been happening with the Federal Reserve, which is, I'm going to get into that in later videos. I'm researching very heavily on that. I'm getting to the books that I'm reading on that right now. But Austrian economics is awesome. I stopped when I felt like now I'm starting to get to a point where they're losing me. There are terms that I need to look up and other things that I need to study and understand to continue understanding what they're talking about in this book. So yeah, I'll get back to listening to the rest of this one for sure. I started reading this one. This is the most recent book that I just started reading, and this book is amazing. The Creature from Jekyll Island, a second look at the Federal Reserve, because it really goes into depth about, in a very understandable way, it tells the story of how the Federal Reserve was created, how it works, and what the problems are with it. And so I decided to go with this one in terms of researching the Federal Reserve because I felt like I was understanding everything that was being said. And so I really felt that it was valuable to me. I might, when I'm done with this, go back and try and listen to this one again and see if I feel like I have a better understanding of what's going on then. So yeah, I need to listen to this one first. In the meantime, I have listened to this one, The Fourth Turning. I just finished this a couple of days ago. And this I will also recommend to anyone who's interested in economics and investing and kind of seeing patterns over time in history and how the past has affected today and what the future might look like. Because what this is a study of generations and what they call generational archetypes. And it's really fucking interesting. They have these different generational archetypes, and they have 4 turnings that these generations go through in this cycle that repeats itself through time. And they show that back in history, how this circle of 4 periods of time with different characteristics have repeated themselves throughout time, and how these different generational archetypes affect each other and affect what is happening in the world in these times. It kind of predicts what has happened. It was written some time ago. I don't know exactly when it was written. Release date. Was it in 2001? Is that really true? It's astounding how they were able to predict actually what happened in the following like 10 or 20 years after this book was released. It's kind of mind-blowing that they were able to do that actually. And that's one of the things that constantly made me smile when reading it. That's why it's such an interesting read now, because as you see, it's called an American prophecy, but they're making a prophecy about a time that we're actually still in right now. And it's just shocking to see how accurate they are in this prophecy, in foretelling what is actually going to happen based on these generational archetypes and based on demographics and stuff like that. So that was a really fucking interesting read. And this is a core pillar. I'm kind of building my own investment thesis because I think that's important if you're going to put a lot of your money into some investments and not just give them to some money manager who's going to invest them for you. I think it's very important to have your own thesis about like, where are we in history, what's going to happen in the future, why am I investing in these companies or these things that I'm investing in, because you only really have yourself to rely on. So this is going to be a core pillar of my investment thesis that I'm kind of building right now. And these books on this Federal Reserve, this Austrian economics as well, is going to be a core part of my thesis about why I'm investing in the things I'm investing in. And then the books that I'm going to read is The Sovereign Individual, Mastering the Transition to the Information Age. This has been recommended by a lot of people that I listen to, for example, Michael Saylor and Robert Breedlove. Look those guys up if you're interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I'm going to read that. The Internet of Money, The Internet of Money Book 2 and The Internet of Money Book 3. Haven't really started on those yet, but I look forward to it. Then there's the Bitcoin Standard. I saw an interview with the author not that long ago, because he just came out with another book called The Fiat Standard, which I also want to read this year if I get to it, and if it's interesting and if it gives me value. And so that's another one on my reading list. Mastering Bitcoin, Programming the Open Blockchain. I don't know how programming technical this is, but I got these two books, Mastering Ethereum, Building Smart Contracts and dApps, just to see, like, does it give me a better understanding of these concepts? Because the technical part of crypto is really where I lack understanding, because I'm not a developer, I'm not a technical guy. I've worked a lot with developers to build my business, but I'm not a developer myself. So I feel like I have a vague probably a better understanding than someone who has never worked with development at all. But I'm not a programmer myself. So if this can give me a little bit better handle on the technical sides of crypto, I really appreciate that. If I don't understand shit of what I'm reading, I'm not going to read these. I'm not going to waste the time, because I don't really think it's necessary for me to understand all of the technical stuff to invest in it. Yeah. Then there's Sapiens. This is just a book that I've wanted to read for a long time, and I thought that maybe it would be a good complementary book to read to this one, The Fourth Turning, about these generational archetypes through time. This one should be just a history of humankind. I don't really know a lot about this book, actually, but it's just been recommended so much by so many people that I follow and listen to. And I've been wanting to read it for a long time, and I thought maybe it actually fits very well into this thesis that I'm doing. If you are a follower of this channel, I'm very grateful that you are here and watching this video, first of all. But this is what you can look forward to this year, that I'm going to focus down on this specific YouTube channel that you are watching a video on right now. And I'm going to read these books. And so some of my videos are probably going to be about the things that I read in these books. I want to do a video on this, The Fourth Turning. If you have read that book, or you are excited to hear what I think about it or what it's about, leave a comment for me in the comment section. If you have questions that I can answer in some of my videos, also about some of these things, feel free to leave a comment. I'll read all of my comments and I answer all of them as well. So I'm definitely accessible in that way. And so I think I'll end this video here, because I think it's already too long, right? Yeah, it's definitely way too long. So that's what's going to happen this year. I'm going to focus on my businesses. I'm going to focus on my investing. I'm going to focus on you guys that are following along on this YouTube channel. And I hope to see you guys here in the coming 12 months. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.